great for your skin as well, for you and your family. Check out the Duffy's Hair Growth Cream, the Duffy's Healthy Glow Shower Gel. That comes in different skin shades. There's the dark and chocolate skin, caramel and average skin, and naturally very fair skin. There's the body cream, the Hima Feminine Mixture, Duffy's Feminine Cleanse, Duffy's Snatch for flat tummy, Duffy's Weight Management is for slimming. And then you've got to check out their best combo for acne control and dark spot fading. That is the Duffy's Acne Cleanser plus the Duffy's Black Spot Cream. What are you waiting for? Reach out to Duffy's today. Okay, if you have been experiencing regular menstrual flow, you need your Hima Feminine Mixture, call them today. Maybe it's a friend who's been confiding in you about this situation. Tell them about the Duffy's or Hima Feminine Mixture. Call Duffy's today on 0533 776 893 0533 776 893. I'm moving on to my guest for today. We're live on Facebook and also YouTube on the Duffy's Easier Motherhood Series. Today, Akua is going to be telling us, Akua Sarpong, how she embraced unexpected motherhood, her unplanned path. Let me acknowledge our sponsors. Stay with us. We'll be right back. She was the youngest contestant we had amongst the moms in their 50s and 60s. Akua, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, Akua, fall in love with the microphone. Give me like your most powerful voice today.
Good morning, JJ.
Awesome, awesome. So, Akua, tell us about yourself, your family. Yes, give us those details, what you do as well. It would be nice to know that.
Okay. So, my name is Akua Sarpong. I'm a mother of 4. I'm the COO of SAPS Logistics. It's a freight forward company. I also have an event company called Wielding A, named after my kids.
Okay.
And we also have a cleaning company.
Okay.
We employ mostly single mothers because I'm passionate about single mothers.
Let's talk about how you became passionate about it. In fact, we will get into that, but I haven't listened to your story, Lisa. I know that you tell us about your growing up. Maybe let's take it from there.
Okay, so I grew up in Ghana.
Please draw closer to the microphone for me. Yeah.
I grew up in Ghana. My mom was a single mother. I went to Ave Maria School. We lived in Dansuman. And then my granddad was in the States at the time, so he filed for my mom and I. And my mom decided to go. So before then, we used to live in a house where other kids were there. So there was this kid that went to 7th grade. So then he was in a boarding school. So I told my mom, I don't want to live with anybody, so I want to go to boarding school. So then she enrolled me into boarding school.
So by which age you were? How old at the time?
Class 4.
Class 4.
Yeah.
And you were excited about being in boarding school at class 4?
Because I was the only child too.
Only child.
Only child of my mom. My girl was the only child. So
We're live on Facebook and YouTube with Akua, so you can join in and see this mom of 4 who she doesn't even look like so I feel no we national service. Go ahead, Akua.
So she enrolled me into the school, boarding school, 7th grade, and then she traveled. So that was when friends will become like siblings and family. So throughout class 4, JSS, wrote my BC, and then at some point during vacations, I'll go to my grandfather's place. So over there, I'm okay to speak Tree. Okay,
You are
so I was
okay,
the only
yeah.
child there. So my aunt had 3 kids. So I decided, I told my mom that, I want to go live with that auntie because I would feel like her kids are my siblings, quote unquote. So during vacations, I'll go there. But with that, I really didn't feel like that because, anyway, yeah.
Never really your own siblings, so you always had a yearning for a sibling.
Yes.
How did you feel moving from one place to the other on vacations? Today you're here, tomorrow you're there. You enjoyed it?
Not really.
Not really.
Not really, because it's like you're not really stable.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you're learning different things, and as a child, you learn a lot with what you see and
Yeah.
who you're with, and that impacts you a lot too. So, not really. But then I wrote my BC, passed, and I went on to Brigels. So there again, I made friends and families, and some of them up till now, I'm still closer to them. Yeah. So after the whole WASI, in fact, the day I wrote my last paper, which was English, I flew to my mom. Yeah, I left to the States.
And by this time, Mom had been away from Ghana for how long?
Since class 4 till
Since
10.
class 4 till...
Yeah.
That's over 10? A little over 10?
Yeah.
A little over 10. How did you feel knowing you're finally going to meet Mom? You're going to be with her in the States. Now it's your mom. It's not
Someone else's mom.
sister. Yeah, your own mom.
My own mom. I was excited, but then, you know, she wasn't here, so there was really not that bond, that relationship where, you know, you hear people, something happens to them, they run to their mother. I didn't have that. But for me, in the Brig Girls, my house mistress, Mrs. Sophie, she became a mother to me. So if anything, I would talk to Mrs. Sophie. So she was the mom I had during that period of my life.
Okay.
So finally going to meet my own mom, every girl, every child would be excited. Then I get to the airport and then she sends someone to pick me out. But she was working, so
She had to be at work.
I can't, you know, the life over there is work. So I couldn't blame her. But at that moment I felt like, wow. But as time went on, I understood the decisions, hey.
And so you started school. What was your ambition going to the U.S.? What plans did you have for yourself as a young woman when you're Akua Sarpong? What was the plans you had?
Because school.
Okay.
I wanted to be a doctor.
Why did you want to be a doctor, Kia?
Why did I want to be a doctor?
Or at the time, it was one of those things you
one of
had
those
to
things,
become
yes.
in school. If you're smart, you become
And
study sciences and become
study science.
a
And the funny
doctor.
thing, I didn't even do science in the Brig Girls.
You didn't?
I did general arts.
Okay.
E1, elective math, French, geography, economics. So I went in there, wanted to be a doctor. So I enrolled in community college for
Okay.
2 years, and then you do 2 years of bachelor's. And I did pre-med bio.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's what happened when I got there. I enrolled in school, did my 2 year of college, and then transferred to Rutgers University.
Okay.
Yes.
So for a young woman who had this great ambition, you had this great plans, you're going to be a doctor. Along the way, there were some detours, quite some heavy detours for you.
detours.
You're not a doctor now as you're sitting here,
No,
but
I'm not.
let's talk about the party, where it all started, where things.
The party.
Tell us about how your life totally changed. Totally changed.
Okay, so there's this friend, Harriet. I don't know if you have to mention names, but she was in 7th grade, and then she left. So we kept that contact. So I got to the States and I knew she was in New Jersey. So she was also in school. She was in, I think, she was in school at the time.
Oh, before you continue, maybe our listeners would like to know. So you were staying with mom in the U.S.?
So I was staying with mom, but mom was not home. Mom does care job.
Okay.
So mom lived with her patient.
Her patient.
Yes. So I was in the apartment by myself.
So most of the time you were by yourself, but
Yes.
when she was not with her patient, she was home with you.
Yes. She
Okay.
would come home. Yes.
Okay. All right.
And in community college, it was just literally like 30 minutes from home. So I take the bus, I go to school, have fun with friends, learn whatever, and come back home.
Okay.
Yes, so I built that community also with the people that we all go to class together. We pick the same classes, and then we come home.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So
And
mom wasn't home. It was just me doing that, going to school, and I wasn't working. So I was just going to school at the time.
Okay. Let's talk about when.
The detour.
Yes. The detour
So
for you.
I grew up with my mom. I had no dad. So that.
You never ever saw your dad?
Oh, I did. At some point, he would come and pick me on vacations to Kumasi because he lived in Kumasi at the time. But after the separation, he started his own family.
Okay.
Again, another freedom of rejection. So he started his own family in Kumasi, and I was with my mother. So that growing up with no dad, quote unquote, just your mom, you would want, there's this kind of love that trauma makes you look for. So that was when at the time my boyfriend, because we never got married, I was getting that love and attention from.
So right from the time you found out your dad had started a family, you as a young girl, you had been having a yearning for a father kind of love in your life. Okay, continue.
So that was tough. Going to Kumasi, because usually my dad and I were like daddy's girl. In Kumasi, nobody could. When you see Kofi in the bar.
Wow.
And all of a sudden, that was not there anymore. And he has his own family and another child, and it's like, wow, you're not wanted, you know? Sorry.
That's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
So, where are we now?
So we just took a
college.
detour when we're talking about your detour.
Okay. So, I met this guy, and I get pregnant. And prior to that, because I've been the only child, I always told God that I would want 6 children. Father, when I 6 children, it was always my prayer. And I gave him in the series in which I wanted to. I've been intentional about my prayers. So if God, you didn't give me siblings, I want to create my own siblings.
That was your plan.
That was my plan.
And you're going to be your children's siblings.
Yes. Yes. So I told God I wanted a girl, boy, and then the girls would follow. So I met this guy, then I get pregnant. Before I found out I was pregnant, I ate something and I was just using the bathroom, diarrhea. So I get to the hospital thinking that I'm going in, they tell me, oh, take this ORS or whatever it is, feel better. They tell you you're pregnant. Hey!
How did that feel? The news hitting you?
The news broke me. I was scared. I was 2012. So I was 21, turning 22. I forget.
Yeah.
It confuses me, but I was scared.
Be a doctor. Doctor now so bad. Yeah. How did your mom take it?
I needed to make the decision myself whether I was going to keep it or not, because there's a lot of voices. You know, the first thing, when I heard it first, I didn't tell my mom. They very instant, because you can't. So was my friends. It was the Rama and Anama at the time that I spoke to. And they're also young. The only thing they'll tell you is, you have to find a way. You can't keep
This baby.
But I made the decision to keep it because I always wanted a sibling against all odds. I didn't know how I was going to do it. I didn't have a mom, so I didn't know how to be a mother.
Yeah.
So I made the decision to keep it. That was when I went to tell my mom. So at that point, whatever she tells me, whether to keep it or not keep it, I know I've made my own decision. Nobody
to
can
keep the baby.
sway me away from this decision I've made. But I was scared. I cried.
And so how did life advance for you after that? Were you able to work to take care of yourself? Was mom supporting you? Was this guy, your baby's father, supporting? How was that time of expectancy for you?
So before I was pregnant, I was in Rutgers and I was rooming. So immediately I would have to find a place that, find my own safe space for the baby and all that stuff. So I was working. I had to find a job. I was working as a home care all in the medical field. So I was working. I worked till my 9th month.
How was that period? I mean, the whole feeling of how did this happen? I mean, I was supposed to be going to school but were you still continue with school?
I did. But during that time, I was still going to school after classes. University, you get to pick your schedule.
Exactly.
So I'll pick days that I'll go to school and days that I would go and work. So I was doing both at the same time.
Did you have the support of your child's father during this period?
At the time, he was also working. He's just a young guy, trying
to also figure his way out.
So yes, the support was there at that time.
So finally, you deliver.
And I delivered
your baby. C-section.
Funny thing is, I got in labor on Wednesday, and I went in there with the mindset of I'm going to give birth as a Hebrew woman. As growing up in the African way, they put that you have to push. If you don't push the baby out, you haven't
You're
given birth.
You're sort of not woman enough or something.
Not woman enough. You haven't given birth. So I get there on Wednesday. I'm in pain. They opt for C-section. I say no. I want to wait. I want to dilate to 10 centimeters and push this baby out. Thursday comes, I'm only at 5. I'm not going any further. They do all they can. So within Friday, they were like, no, there's no way. The baby has turned and emergency C-section. So they didn't even ask anything. They
So your first was a girl or a boy?
A girl.
A girl. How did it feel seeing your little mini-me?
All the pain vanished, as they always say. It sounds like a cliche, but it actually happens. When you see the baby, everything goes away.
So I want to know, what's your frame, the frame of thinking by the time this first child had landed? You wanted to go to school. What was your plan after that?
The plan was to still go to school. So I still enrolled in classes. I remember I would take her to my friends who were dorming on campus, and then I'll go to class.
This sounds like it was very tough. I mean,
it was. Sitting here laughing now at the time.
What was the hardest part of being a single mom, I would say? Trying to go to school. You don't really have your mom around. She's around, but she's also busy. What was the hardest part for you?
The hardest part for me was after I separated from your dad. That was when my second one came. And he was living a path that was not necessarily good for me. So I made the decision to leave. That was when the hardest part started. It was tough. I don't know how I did it. It's been tough. A tough period of 4 to 5 years. And that time was when I drew closer to God. Because at some point I became suicidal.
You did?
I did. After the 2 kids. But then the only thing that stopped me was the other party can't take care of them. They were the only reasons that kept me from doing whatever stupid thing I was going to do at the time. Because who would take care of them? So I had to live for them.
I've heard some parts of Akua story. There's one that just brought me to tears, and I just wanted to share that part with us, where you said you had to move from one state to the other because you started noticing some things about your children's dad. So you wanted to move states, go live with another a friend. Tell us about that period.
So Crispina, God bless her, she was the friend that I told you about that I had made in Jersey. She was actually my senior in Abri Girls.
Yeah.
So when the kid's dad was doing whatever he needed to do, I separated myself, and then I told Crispina, A friend of mine is in Ohio, and she said I can come over and live with her till I find my feet. So we ate together, we prayed, and I set off. The journey from Jersey to Ohio is about 9 hours. So I wanted to go during the night because I'm not going to I want to pee and stuff like that. So I left Jersey around 7, drove all the way to Ohio. And that journey was when I cried the whole 9 hours going, because I'm thinking I'm about to start a life. You know, these kids will grow up in the household with a mom and a dad. I didn't want them to go through what I went through, that rejection. And this is me reliving that whole moment again. So I get to Ohio. She embraces me well, and she at the time was also a single mother. So she understood. A few weeks later, for whatever reason, she could not live with me anymore. And she said my daughter had poured mobile oil. She kicked us out. JJD, and I drew. You know, there's a way that Obiba Pam will say, "Call me, person no bet snabium." And there's a way say Obiba to name go up on Tiami Pamo.
Yeah.
With these two kids.
How old were they at the time?
My daughter was, I think, 2.5 or so, and my son was 1. They are literally Irish twins, just a year apart. So you
were out in the snow in your car with the 2 children.
With 2 kids crying. So now I have to go back to Jersey. That was when I had to call my mom. That's tough.
A tough one.
A tough one. But I had to. There was nowhere to go. So I went back.
You were received by mom. This is Sunny 88.7 FM. We are with Akua Sarpong. She's sharing her story about how she embraced motherhood along the way in her life. At a time she was nowhere prepared for it, and clearly the father of your children was not prepared as well to be a father. You seem to have made up your mind that this is where I am right now. I'm going to be there. It seemed like he was just not prepared for that time. How was that mentally for you?
For you, at the time, this is how I took it. I took it as God has given both of us these children to take care of. You've made the decision not to.
Okay.
When God comes, God will ask me what I did with the kids He's given to me. I'm not going to answer for you, because salvation is a personal journey. So I'm doing what I can to be able to answer to God. When God asks you, whatever answer you give Him, that's you. But these are the kids God has given me to take care of. And I'm going to do everything I can in my power to take care of them.
And having spoken to you, you've already also shared on air about how your parents separated. Dad started his own family. Your mom, a single mom. You've also told me about how her mom was a single mom. You didn't have a good relationship with your mom. And it seems to be, I'm gathering for you that it seems to be a pattern you noticed along the way. If you can tell us about that. And when it dawned on you that it seems like I'm reliving the past generations in my own, having one out of wedlock, the second one, and it's like I'm just doing this thing that I don't seem to want to do. Share that with us.
Dawned on me 2016, 2017. Professor Akua had come to New Jersey to have a program. That was my first encounter with him. And if you know anything about Professor Akua, you would fast.
The fast to 40 days.
70
days.
So
maybe that's why after 4 kids you don't even look like one just dropped out of you. Someone says Akua is making me cry my eyes out. Life without a mother and a father is the most difficult life to live. I didn't have any growing up, so I fit her shoes. Akua, please continue. When it dawned on you that as I'm living the past generations,
So in 2017 he had a program in New Jersey. I went, and then that was when I had really gotten closer to God.
Okay.
Because at the time, mini mama, mini papa, and Korean amewo, yamin kwan amewo. So I held on to God like crazy. And I kept telling myself that I wasn't necessarily praying for a husband.
Okay.
I'll lie to you. I was praying for a father figure for the kids, because my daughter, I can raise her, quote unquote, but for my boy, he needs that father figure in his life.
Yeah.
So in as much as I was praying for a partner, I wasn't necessarily fixated on a husband. It was more of somebody the boy could look up to. And during that time, I noticed that it was a pattern.
Okay.
My grandmother was a single mother and then remarried. She was a single mother of my mother before she also remarried and had kids and all that. And my mom was a single mother, and now I'm living in the same thing that I prayed so hard not to. That was when I noticed that pattern, and I decided it will end with me. It had to end with me, because looking at my daughter, no.
The story has to change.
It has to change, JJD. It has to change.
So what did you do after that encounter
I
with
prayed.
Prophet Nanasse?
I prayed. I fasted. I prayed. I fasted. And the way in which I met my husband was even funny, but I didn't even know that I would marry, quote unquote, because at the time it was just mid school.
Yeah.
And yeah, I can be able to take care of my kids and take care of myself. Now our area cards really, so that's thing of
I bet you ready, so okay. I told her she needs to write a book, because if you're able to read every detail of the story, I bet it's ready, so okay.
So our area was not in the picture. So makes me a nursing school near.
Yeah.
Now makes me a shame Maya okay.
Okay, so I'm just wondering how a mother mothers when she's not known how to, what it's like to have the love and the time of a mother. Your first child happened to be your girl. How did you do it with her? How you do it with her, I should say.
Honestly, JJD, every single day, my prayer then and my prayer now hasn't changed. It's, God help me be a mother. God teach me how to be a mother. Because it didn't come with a manual. I don't know. So it had always been the Holy Spirit praying and asking. And now the way I had mothered her when she was younger is not the same, because she's turning 11. Now I see the development. She's getting boobs.
Yeah.
You know, she's at the puberty stage, and I just ask God every day, because I don't know.
You know, you told me about how she got to the unhealed part of you, because you were still in that phase of trying to figure things out yourself. So who was the unhealed Akua raising children, and the healed Akua? I'm still healing, I would say, but they're really, at that place, you're in a really bad spot.
Right.
Yeah.
Everything was no.
Okay.
Because everything was no. But then, aside that part of mothering, I made sure that even in my single motherhood days, they still had fun.
Okay.
I would take them to the beach. I would take them to the park. I would do things for them to live the childhood. I didn't want them to be that like in a shell because I'm scared or no. I still wanted them to go through their childhood. Semini Bikrana, I would work hard, get the money, and make sure to get whatever it is they wanted for them. So they didn't really feel the need of their dad or feel the absence, I would say, because I gave it my all.
You gave it your all.
I gave it my all. So at some point it would be, oh, he's traveled, and one thing is, I never spoke bad about him to them.
And I commend you for that, because hearing all the things you were put through, it would take a lot of restraint to not do that. So I respect that you saved your children of that.
I get stories from other single mothers where it's like, they take that anger and frustration, and you want to, because they're the spitting image of this person.
Look just like him. Look just like the mother.
So I say it's the Holy Spirit, honestly, JJD. I don't, if you ask me if I did this, I can't tell you.
So, Kia, you finally meet this great guy and still yet have another child, not yet married. And then I find it interesting that, and I guess it's still connected to the pattern you probably said you saw in your family, where now you're married, you want to have a child, and I mean, before, when you knew nothing, very naive, one pregnant, second pregnant, now you're married, valid time.
Right.
It makes sense to have one.
Right.
Tell us about that period.
So I met him and we had plans to get married in 2019 August. So we met in sometime 2017 and then in 2018. So during 2018 we're planning to get married in August 2019. And his birthday is November. So that November we planned a whole trip. We went and we all that stuff. So yeah.
All the stuff. Let me deal with that. Say, continue, Kia.
All that stuff. And I get pregnant. At the time I wasn't married.
So by this time, 1, 2, 3, what's going through your mind, Kia?
When the third one came, I was like, God.
Yeah.
Even I had a cousin tell me, my man, 1, 2, 1, 2.
Dead, yeah. Are they?
We okay?
Yeah, we are. Well, we saw your okay, wasn't it?
To be honest, but this is someone I had planned marriage with. So I knew, say, Jame ain't sequence. But what if it did?
Yes, because it could have happened. It could have. But
See, I do you.
Yeah.
Because they are showering that an sending the chain to buy and the catcher and say. And this is somebody who had no kids. And whilst I was praying to, I was telling God that Semisha will be a because I'm coming in with kids, and so that whole confusion, a hard dream. This is my story. It might be different for somebody else, and I commend those who go through that. But anyway, he's like, okay, I did shower that August, so then then we just do it. So that's what happened. I gave birth in August, and then we married in December. So that was with the third one. Then after we got married, I feel they are one member. Obi I was me him go so pena manyem.
How did that feel?
It took me back on my knees.
You had to get back on your knees to your father.
To my father. Because you know when it's like when life is okay, nothing, something will remind you that you're okay, sir. You need God every step of your way. So it took me back to my knees.
And that was also another pattern you'd seen in your family life.
Yes.
That if you're single, married, now you couldn't have children.
Now I'm married, I can't have kids.
So how did it finally happen for you?
The first pregnancy in marriage, I miscarried that one. It was tough. It was tough. It mentally, because I why? So then again, back on my knees, and then finally, my asida came.
After how many years in marriage?
After 3 to 4 years.
3 to 4
years. This is our 5th year of marriage.
5th year. I'm looking at my time, and it seems this was JJD. I just parked to salute this lady. May God give her the strength always to push forward. Amen. May God bless her abundantly. I have another voice note coming through. I'll see if I'm able to play it. But Akua, how have you managed to get your children from your previous relationship to bond with the children from your marriage now to the man you married to, Mr. Sarpong, right? Mr. Sarpong, Mr. Sarpong. Have you managed to get them to bond and to love one another and to be a mother to all 4 of them?
So, I don't know, saying about Omuka say inquire free you're from Bakwa, and prior to, after I had the 2, I knew say me will be because me never catch me say me 6.
So we're expecting another 2.
You know, now I have started praying against the spirit of Cain and Abel. That's how I call it. That nothing will separate these children as long as they are coming from the same womb. And Mr. Sarpong and how are your family? So JJ the man come as a man now who Mr. Sarpong refers to now.
They look very much alike.
Yes.
But I know there's single moms out there who are made to feel that as far as you have 2 or 3 children, but don't forget it, our idea, who wants to. So I mean, when it happened, did it pass through your mind that, you know, no one may want to marry me? Did it kind of...
My mother told me that. So on your yes, single mother of 1, which is me. Coming from your own mother,
yeah,
it's crazy. So that's why I was not necessarily even praying for a husband, lie, because that stigma is there.
It's still there.
But I'll tell that single mother out there, say, no, catch you in your
Okay, what relationship do you wish every mom would have with their daughter?
They should pull them close to them. They should have that relationship where even though you're a mother, you can be a friend, and that boundary is there. You know, there are situations where mothers will be friends and that's a you know, it becomes a problem in the end. And I don't know how I do it, but I'm able to
distinguish. Oh no, that's not even a word. Will come.
Distinct, yes. Between that, I'm a mother now, but I can also be a friend. So I'll tell the mother to because the BBC cry now. It's tough.
Yeah.
So with the relationship with my daughter now, I'm doing everything I can. Said Bibi Tuna, she can be able to tell
speak
me.
With you.
So we have that friendship part of it, and then she knows that I can't do this to my mom. I can't disrespect mom. I can't speak to her anyhow. She knows that too. That line is strong.
I'm seeing some messages here. Thank God I didn't miss them. Kwabena Saradako is watching, says, big up to all mothers. Delia says, Akua is teaching us to live through whatever life throws at us and come out stronger with resilience and with God on our side. As you stand in the gap, this pattern is ending in your time and your generation will live gloriously. Nanea Fredia Ajima says, I'm tearing up. Dansoye Efa Mabel says, I'm enjoying this interview, but please check the sound. Okay, I think they needed to hear much better. Okay. This one says, I was tearing up the part when she was doing out with the kids. In fact, Dansoye, let me tell you, that was the same part I started tearing up at home. My kids were inside the house, I was outside, I started tearing up. I mean, she's not even giving you the bits of the details, but I think it's heartbreaking for a mom to see you and your 2 children being thrown out of a house. It's snowing and you're sitting in the car, you don't know where to go. It was very disturbing for me as well. And she says, I like the part that he says she did her part because she knows God will ask both parents separately what you did with the children he entrusted to you. Gabriel says, when I heard her mention Prophet Sarkode, I and my wife just shouted. There's a shouting somewhere. Nanama Betty's watching, says, Akua, you are a strong woman. Wilhelmina is also watching. You have some loves here. Gabriel says, God bless you, Daddy. You are a blessing to us. Fiona Intriwa Menu, this must be my friend from senior high school St. Rose's way back. She says Akua is a strong woman. Akua, what are your lessons to your younger self, looking at what God has brought you through? Not many live to tell their story like you are sharing it today.
To my younger self, if my 5-year-old or 6-year-old self or 10-year-old self standing there right now, I would hug her because she didn't know what she didn't know what was ahead of her, and she did everything she could or used everything she used at the time to make it okay for her to live.
This is Sunny 88.7 FM. Question here. You guys are supposed to be signing out soon. It says, how did she overcome the guilt?
Which one?
The guilt of, mommy, which one is it? Is it the guilt of pregnancy 1, 2, 3? Which kind of guilt? Let us know which one. And somebody also wants to know, so did you marry outside or in Ghana? So the wedding,
The wedding was in Ghana. It was in Ghana. We came to Ghana.
Okay. And this one says, she's a strong woman. God bless her. Naswomo inside Adabraka. This one says, JJ, please, I want to ask her what advice you would give to a dad contemplating separation from his wife and children.
Wow.
Do you have any advice you would give to a dad contemplating separation from his wife and children?
If it's not abuse physically or something that's really hurting the kids, they should try and make it work. They should try and make it work.
Akua is a tough woman. She has an extraordinary grace. From Hesi Ujiri. Mommy says the guilt of being pregnant outside marriage a number of times. How did you overcome that guilt? That's what she wants to know.
For me, that guilt, by your one to we if I'm saying, oh, they she quote unquote, it's like my friend. Opposite of that. So the guilt had already left at that time.
We're just about wrapping up with Akua. Akua, thank you for coming. But Akua, I need to ask you, when are you going to capture all you've been through in a book to encourage someone out there? Because Akua, I felt like I was reading a movie. If I'm listening to a movie as you narrated everything to me. It took me about 5 days to finish listening to a story. She hasn't even finished telling me, so you haven't even heard like 10% of it. All right, they're saying we should check. We should still check our sound. Okay, all right. Let me just. I think I'm seeing this one says. Let me also. So Prince is watching. Says, please don't stop what you're doing right now. You're healing and helping most sensitive part of human issues. And he says there's a crown of honor awaiting you and Sunny. God bless you. Thank you so much for that encouraging message. This one says, this is tough, but glad to hear her see the need for her accountability to God. I grew up without both parents and it isn't easy either, but I'm confident that hearing what she has gone through, there's a greater light in the end. Broken family prayer shouldn't be anyone's portion. Amen. And I think I'll make this our final message for this one. It says, Charlie, strong, and that's going to be listening to us. Akua, thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for sharing your story with us. And I pray that the Lord continues to keep you.
Amen.
Keep your children, keep your marriage.
Amen.
That you'll be the reason why the next generation is going to be different. I'm going to say started with Auntie Akua, Grandma Akua, great Grandma Akua.
Yes.
You made it happen.
Thank you.
Thank you for standing. And thank you for joining us today on the iMDrive. Unfortunately, my time is up, so I have to wrap up. It's been the Duffy's Easier Motherhood Series. Let me say thank you to our sponsors who also made it possible to bring moms like Akua and the others we've had on the Duffy's Easier Motherhood Series. Duffy's Health and Beauty, thank you so much. Also to TNU, thank you for supporting us on the Duffy's Easier Motherhood Series. I had a voice to come through. I'm so sorry I couldn't play it. My time is up and I've got to go. We're back, God willing, Monday. Enjoy your weekend. Ladies, we'd love to see you, though, at the All Women's Fitness Meetup. Tomorrow is at 6:30 a.m. Don't come alone. Come with a friend. Let's hang out. Let's meet some cool men. Let's sweat some sickness out of us. All right, and let's get healthy. 6:30 a.m. sharp right here on the premises of Sunny 88.7 FM.
Can we dance? Can I show you a dance?
Hi there, it's me, Coach CJ from TNU Fitness, here to invite you to Sunny FM's All Women's Fitness Meetup, happening this Saturday, 6:30 a.m., starting right up at the Sunny FM location. Every mother, every woman, everyone is invited to come and have this day. A day to move, to walk, to stretch out, to exercise, and just to do something a little different on a Saturday. It's going to be nice. We're going to have music. We're going to have fun games. You don't want to miss it. Again, this coming Saturday, 6:30 a.m. sharp, right here at Sunny FM. Come join me, Coach CJ, and the rest of the staff of Sunny FM and TNU as we move. See you soon.
Hey, let's go. You don't feel